So, hello. I'm Georgia Bafoutsou. You heard already. I'm very happy that I'm here, and thank you for this invitation. Very interesting talks before me. Charismatic speakers. I'm not sure that I can live up to that. Actually, I'm sure that I cannot live up to that. Anyway, so as you heard, I'm working at ENISA, the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity. I'm working, I have two roles. I'm a member of the Policy Development and Implementation Unit of ENISA, and I'm also a member of the horizontal team for awareness raising and education. So I've come here more with my second role for awareness raising and education. So first, I don't know how much you know about ENISA, or if you know a few things, I can tell you some more. So ENISA, it's the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity. So it's the Union's agency dedicated to achieving a high common level of cybersecurity across Europe. So what we do several things. We help member states to implement policy and actually have a common implementation of the union policies and laws. We do capacity building, we organize exercises, and like Cyber Europe or international cybersecurity exercises. We also work towards cybersecurity certification to enhance trustworthiness of ICT products and services. Actually, soon to be launched is the 5G certification scheme. I'm sure most of you have heard about it. Complex process. We are also working with operational cooperation. Operational cooperation mostly working with CSIRTs and trying to bring the relevant organizations in the member states together in case there is a large cyber incident so that they can work together and get through it. ENISA was initially based in Heraklion. It was always in Greece. First it was in Heraklion, in Crete. And then it was strengthened by the Cybersecurity Act, and it came also in Athens. So now there is a small office in Heraklion. Our main base is in Athens. In Halandri, we have a new building. Please come and visit us. We are trying to organize more and more events there. There is also a small office in Brussels. This office deals mostly with the operational cooperation part of our activities. So what we did about SMEs and how we started, it isn't too long ago, actually. It was in the middle of the pandemic, like in 2020, that we realized that small and medium-sized enterprises are having more and more online presence. So they were exposed, and they were not, actually, most of them, they were not ready to have that online presence. So they were exposed to threats, they were exposed to attackers. So we decided, at first we wanted to know what was the situation. What happened? What were the threats? What were the risks that the companies were facing? So we launched a survey to understand what was exactly the situation at that moment. So after that, after we got the results of the survey and evaluated them, we created some guidance. So we wrote a report. The Cybersecurity for SMEs report. And we also have a small leaflet that summarizes what is there, what is in that report. So I have some of the leaflets here with me, and there are some more upstairs in the National Cybersecurity Agency of Ireland. So please have some of them and try to disseminate them around. We need multipliers. We need people that can disseminate our work and talk about that. So we also created a tool, the Secure SME tool, This tool gives advice and also has gathered some advice from national authorities, and you can check it out in our website. We try to participate in conferences and in exhibitions, in conferences like this one. Also, we were, 2 weeks ago, we were in Germany in the ENISA conference in Nuremberg. We went to Greece, to Thessaloniki, the international fair in Thessaloniki. We went to FIC in France. We participate in online webinars. We are not a lot, but we are trying to disseminate the work and talk about what we are doing. Yesterday I heard that we are not very well known, and you're right that you're saying that. We are doing our best to help you know us. So help us with that. So what we discovered through this survey that I talked to you about before, we discovered that 99% of the companies in Europe are small and medium-sized companies, SMEs. And 93% of them are micro SMEs. And how we define what is an SME, what is this micro SME? Micro SMEs are companies that have less than 10 people and turnover of less than 2 million. A small SME has less than 50 people and an annual turnover of less than 10 million. And the medium-sized SMEs have employ less than 250 people and have a turnover of less than 50 million. So in our study, we had participants from 250 SMEs from all sectors, ranging from manufacturing to advanced IT companies, from 25 EU member states. We had 16% medium-sized, 56% micro SMEs, and 28% small SMEs. These companies, we realized that they had increased dependence on information services and communication services. They used, the most used services were, of course, teleworking, online conferencing tools, emails, banking transactions, but some of them also used e-learning and e-commerce. And these companies faced a lot of challenges. They had a lot of problems mostly during the COVID pandemic. So 85% of them were very much concerned about cybersecurity. 84% of the attacks were based on social engineering. I know that we are going to hear more about social engineering from Sharon following the following talk. 41% of the attacks were phishing attacks. People were tricked to clicking links, to going to fake banking sites. So our research showed that while a lot of SMEs had to turn towards new solutions to be able to survive, to new solutions that could facilitate teleworking, they were not prepared. So they had some basic security measures applied. They had antivirus and some backup and firewall. But fewer of them had an incident response plan or a business continuity plan. So they were not adequately prepared. And of course, these are some of the challenges that they faced. Low cybersecurity of the personnel, lack of budget, of course, and this goes together with low management support. So if you do not... Okay, I'm hearing something. You also? It's not coming from me. Okay. So there is low management support. So that's why there was this lack of budget. Management was not convinced that they should invest. There is lack of cybersecurity specialists, and this is natural. If there are small companies, they don't have dedicated personnel to cybersecurity. And people were trying to work from everywhere. They were going to work from home, so they took their personal laptops with them, and the infrastructure that the company provided was not adequate to support them, so they had to use their own means. They used their own cloud services, their own email accounts. That made them even more vulnerable to the threats, to actors, to attackers. So we got some examples of SMEs that were attacked. One of them was a ransomware attack in an IT software service provider with less than 50 employees. There was a not secure remote desktop connection, so they were attacked by ransomware, 14 out of the 15 servers that they had. Another one, an email account of a marketing and branding company was hijacked, and it was used to commit fraud. There was a stolen laptop. An employee took their business laptop at home. There was personal data of customers stored, so the laptop was stolen, personal data was compromised. And another one, the CEO fraud type of attack, the financial people of the company were tricked to paying money, to transferring money to a false account because they thought that they got this instruction from the CEO. Some of the examples, I'm sure you've heard of a lot more. And what are the lessons learned from these cases? So companies need to have backups. They are necessary to be able to recover from a ransomware attack. Strong password policy, employee awareness this is basic employee awareness. That's where we are trying to promote very heavily in my team in ENISA. The implementation of the need to know principle for accessing sensible data, VPN for secure connections, some of the recommendations. More are listed in this leaflet that I talked to you about and in our report. So we tried to split these recommendations in 3 areas, categories for people, processes, and technology. I don't have to go through all of them. I've already talked about some of them. So management buy-in, I stress once again, it is very important. It is very important to present a good business case and be able to persuade management that actually investing in cybersecurity is value for money. It's worth the investment, because it is possible that the money you're going to lose in case there is a cyber attack are less than the ones that you would have spent investing in measures and in cybersecurity proper measures and policies. Again, our actions. So we have the Secure SME tool, the dedicated leaflet, and we ran actually this year a campaign about SMEs with some videos and a nice Pac-Man game. These you can find all of them in our website. And our next steps, we are now finalizing work on cybersecurity maturity assessment for small and medium-sized enterprises. So it will be an online tool that you will be able to use and assess the maturity as far as cybersecurity is concerned of your company, answering some simple questions and getting then some graphs so that the companies can know if they are mature enough or they have to invest more. So this leaflet that I talked to you about more than once is also translated in Irish. I cannot, of course, read it, and we don't have it print it, but we have it online. Please download it. And this is like a small video. So about cybersecurity awareness, we are doing some more about it. We are having soon to be launched in our website what we call awareness AR in a box, awareness raising in a box. So this will be a tool, a framework that will have information and guidelines and templates and videos and checklists for the companies to be able to build their own cybersecurity awareness programs. And what is a cybersecurity awareness program? It is a plan that encompasses multiple awareness-raising activities over a long period of time following the organizational strategy for cybersecurity. So employees will be taught how to mitigate the impact of cyber threats. And this program it is recommended to have activities, materials, training, also games, to be able to promote a culture of cybersecurity. These things will be included in this box of ours that will be downloadable from our website. Some of these documents that we will have here: a guide for a cyber awareness program, a guide for a cyber awareness campaign, what are the tools and channels that you should use depending on your target audience, what are the metrics that you can use to be able to evaluate the success of your program. And of course, as I told you, games are very important. We have a game actually there and a guide on how to run this game and a communication strategy. What is the communication strategy that you should follow for your program to be successful? This is part of our game, some quizzes that we have prepared, some cards, like gaming cards that kids used to play with having some easy multiple choice questions that have a simple answer. We've tried to play them in the conferences that we were attending and in the exhibitions. They were actually very, very successful. People like them. And I think that they will be enhanced. Up to now, we have a few of them on the site, on our website, but they will be enhanced to include more. It is an easy way to teach employees, and they are not bored if you use it. They can be used in team building events and combined with team building events in the companies. This is a screenshot of this tabletop game that we are having. There is a scenario of a company being hacked, and the employees are split in groups, and they are trying to find out who actually did the hack, who was affected, who was the victim, who was the first victim of the hack. And then there is this algorithm, decrypting algorithm, and using the hints that they have already found, they should try and find out and decrypt the file name of the encrypted file. So several versions of this game, tabletop one, using a presentation, a mini game. This is the mini game. And finally, these are some screenshots of healthcare sector campaign that we ran this year in June to coincide with the Cyber Europe 2022, the Cyber Europe exercise. This was focused on healthcare. So we ran our campaign. During that period, we had the mascot, Dr. Cyber, who delivered very useful advice having to do with phishing, with cyber hygiene, and with ransomware. And another campaign that we did this year was about the energy sector. Here we didn't have Dr. Cyber, but we had Cyber Sparkle, our little sparkle, yellow one, and it became green and red, depending on the situation. So electricity, this was targeted to transmission system operators. Next year we'll have another one for distribution system operators. So this thing, this campaign material, that is, I know it's sector specific, because I've talked to you about healthcare and energy. We plan to have it sector agnostic and to include it in our box, in our awareness raising box, so that I know that all the guidelines may be useful, but more useful for the companies could be ready-made material that they could just download and use. The language barrier is a problem. So we know that we need to translate our material in more languages as we can, as many languages as we can. Actually, the SME leaflet is translated to almost all European languages. You can find it online. We are trying to use our ad hoc groups and our stakeholders to help us with translation of the material. And we want also multipliers. We want ambassadors for our work. So please join us and help us disseminate our messages. And thank you for your attention. Great. Any questions? I think, okay.
Hello. Just hold up. Okay. So, thank you for the talk. It was very interesting. I applaud the 12 steps. It's really good because I know a lot of small companies just haven't even thought about this. But on the other hand, isn't it a bit expensive? Not in terms of cost of like money, but in terms of overall cost of having to invest in such things, because, you know, we're talking micro SMEs, less than 5 people potentially. How do they actually balance that with the work that they have to do in keeping their business open? Have you thought about that?
Yeah. Sure. I mean, I guess you mean in general cybersecurity, not awareness about cybersecurity. In general. Of course, I mean, we know that it is expensive. I mean, we realize that this is an investment, a serious investment on behalf of the companies. But I think that there are ways to be able to do it with less cost. Cybersecurity awareness is one of these methods. We cannot just base on technology. So we have to base, especially small companies, have to base their defenses on their people. So it is not expensive to enhance the cybersecurity awareness. There are open tools. That's why we are doing these activities. We are offering opportunities for companies to be able to use our material to train their personnel and to enhance awareness. And in general, I believe that of course there is some investment that should be made in cybersecurity, and there is, with a minimum cost, it should be done. Because, as I said before, it would be more expensive to face the impact of an attack than the cost that you would have done in order to prevent. Prevention is surely better than cure. Yeah. I know it's not easy. I mean, we are trying to find ways in ENISA, that's what we are trying to do, to be able to help small enterprises, especially the micro SMEs, to do it as less expensive as possible.
Thank you so much for a wonderful session. That was fascinating. I think the actual answer to that question is, can companies not afford to do it, as it were? Not can they afford to do it, looking at the amount of threat actors that we've seen that are out there operating. My question would be, on your slides, you look at cybersecurity as a team sport. What sort of work, if any, are ENISA doing with other organisations across the globe, like CISA or the National Cybersecurity Centre in the UK? Because there seem to be very strong parallels with some of that work.
We are working actually with CISA, if I'm not mistaken. Last year we had a common campaign about small and medium-sized enterprises. Not last year or the year before. So we did do some common events, common campaign. We launched a common campaign with CISA, and this framework is being based in a lot of UK initiatives for maturity assessment frameworks. We are running groups that are comprised of people that are also in the private sector and are also of the public sector. So we have a working group for small and medium-sized enterprises. There are people there from the private sector and from the public sector, from various European countries. We also have another group for awareness raising and education that is members of this group are people from both public and private sectors, so that we are able to work with all organizations that do relevant work for us. And this work is referenced in this Secure SME tool. We have been referencing work of other authorities in other European member states. Of course, our work is mostly in Europe, less with US. We know that they're very advanced out there. We have some limitations, but we are trying. We have even an international strategy that we are trying to cooperate with authorities and organizations in Europe, outside, of course, outside of Europe.
One last question.
Thanks for the presentation. I just want to go on the point of the gamification piece, because I think it's excellent to engage people through the gamification piece, because people will find topics or documentation, slide decks, whatever, very boring, and you would get disconnect from, say, CISO or higher up people. They'd be less technical. So if you guys are continuing to drive the gamification piece, that'd be great to engage with people in the cybersecurity awareness piece, you know, because that's how you get engagement. It's all about getting engagement, because people see cyber or trainings or something, they go, sure, I'm not doing that. I have something important else to do. So if you gamify it, it's more engaging, I think.
Yeah, we realize that, so that's why we are trying to build these games. I mean, this is a simple game, just a simple scenario for a company that has been hacked, and you have to resolve the myth, to resolve the game, and find out who did it. We played it on ourselves, between ourselves, and it was exciting. It doesn't take a lot of time, just an hour. So, and we have the mini game that's even less. And we are also planning, and we hope that we are going to do it next year, to have it online. I mean, have a game online using probably a platform. We haven't figured out yet how to do it, but yes, we are trying to do. We acknowledge the value of the games in enhancing and awareness raising. Okay, so thank you.